So this is the timers project, and to start, there's the menu. You got the title, the play button, the instructions on how to play. I kept the all the code from the demo, so the enemies attack you and you die in 5 hits, so that's another way to lose. So if you hit play, it spawns 3 towers. You will die in 5 hits. And then hitting play again loads the scene, of course. And then hitting quit ends everything. And it's pretty loud. I'm going to have to turn that down. And I think I might have messed something up in terms of. So now if you just wait for more towers to spawn, I'll demonstrate that you lose if it goes above 20. More specifically, you lose if it there are 20 and it tries to spawn another one. So you get like a brief moment to try and kill one before you lose. And yeah, on the other hand, if you you win. And it does seem it would make sense to show the code for all this stuff. And I think I have done something because it seems like the number is not updating correctly when you destroy them. No, I think the code is actually fine. It's just that. So in terms of the code for this is just the default, with the exception of the handle destruction, and which turns off movement and looking. And there's void for handle destruction. Pretty much the default code for that. The custom game mode has a spawn timer handle, which is a timer that is used to spawn new ones. There's two arrays, one for the spawn points. There are game objects all tagged with spawn. They have a spawn point tag. It gets all the actors with that tag, and then sort of shuffles them back and forth between arrays. The spawn points is the ones that aren't being used, and then once one spawns, it moves its spawn point to the occupied points. And then when it gets destroyed, it moves the occupied point back to the spawn point, and it uses those. There's the void for the spawn tower, which is bound to the handle for the spawn timer, and then just the other code that was demoed in class. Game over, handle actor death. There's a tower class to spawn the towers. There's a tower count, which is bound to the user interface to keep track of how many towers there are. And then the begin, play, and tick I brought in to handle. Begin play is used to get all the spawn points to spawn 3 towers, and then to start the timer. The tick isn't really used for anything. It was just the forum page that I saw had both of them, and I brought it in case I wanted to use it. So, handle active death is this again. Most of this is what was implemented in class. Just it tries to cast to player character. If it can cast, it handles the destruction and game over false. Otherwise, it does. If it's a tower, it does game over true. And I change it that if the number is equal to 0, it does game over true. There's a debug message for try to spawn tower. Spawn point exists. If there are any free spawn points, it will spawn the tower. If not, it does game over false. And also this part of the code is used to move the spawn point back in the occupied point back into the spawn points, and this is used to move the spawn point into the occupied point. And you can see get all actors with tag spawn point, and it creates an array of it and then moves them back and forth between the two as they become occupied or unoccupied. The tower is literally all the code that was implemented in class. Fire rate, fire range, the class for the projectile spawn point, the mesh, the capsule component, player character, fire timer, the void for fire, and the void for rotate tower. Setting up all the components appropriately. On begin play, it tries to get the player character and starts the timer for firing. The rotate tower is done every tick and uses delta time to interpolate between the current position and looking towards the player. Fire is just spawn a projectile and set its owner to this health component. Hold on, got it down. Health component .h. Where's the .h file? There it is. The tick for the component taking damage, and the health and max health. Binding begin play, binding the take damage to the void for damage taken, and health set to max health. And then just taking the damage, debug messages, handle destruction if handling actor death if it is dead. And then of course handling destruction within the character. And so that's pretty much all the C++ code. The blueprint code, of course, consisting of there's the three widgets with the code to play again and quit. Going to the graph, of course, there's the 2 clicks. It opens the first person map or it quits the game. On the other hand, the UI has this bound to be getting the game mode, getting the tower count, and then appending that together to the towers and then the number of towers. No blueprints there. There is the game over event, and it waits a second, then loads the appropriate level. And that is basically everything. It was surprisingly simple to implement. There were no new inputs required. There wasn't too much of a gap between the features that we were demoed in class and the features we had to implement on our own. So yeah, it went pretty well.